Hi friends, welcome to Multimedia Basics series. In this video we are learning what is web designing, what is web development, what are the differences between web designing and web development. You might have seen nowadays everything is online, internet. Every day you might be using some website for research, for entertainment, for different purposes. But everyone is online now. Everyone is using internet for different purposes. What is internet? What is the internet? It is a connection of different systems. It is a connection of different systems to a server. To a server. It is a system, PC or something system. And what is the use of server? To hold something. To hold something. What is that something? What is that something? Web sites. Websites. Okay. What is a website then? What is a website? What is a website? It is a collection of different web pages. It is a collection of different web pages. Collection of web pages. Once upon a time, it is almost like a book. Book. It is a collection of pages. It is a collection of pages printed and kept it in a store. Some in the same way, a collection of pages. A collection of pages has to be kept somewhere. That is called server, web server, and that is called website. Just like a book, someone has to design it. Someone has to design it. This is where web designer comes. Web designer. Just like in the previous video, graphic designing, this is having two components. One is design, one is web. These two are combinedly called web designing. Okay, why we are saying web is different and designing is different? And if you are designing part of web designer, you called web designer. If you are focusing on web part of web designing or web development, you called web developer. It looks somewhat confusing in the beginning, but these two are entirely different. Please try to understand. Web developer is entirely different from web designing. Web designing is mostly designing part. Web developer is mostly developing part. So what are the differences? What are the differences between a web designer and web developer? Web designer and web developer. What are the differences? Okay, we will see. For example, it's mostly designing. It's mostly development. Means programming. Coding part. Development. Designing part. This is just like a graphic designing. Graphic design skills related to web skills. These two combinedly useful for a web designer. Web developer mostly coding part. He is from a different area. These two people web designer and web developer combinedly create a web developer and web designer combinedly. These two people combinedly create great websites, dynamic websites or good websites. Okay, so what skills required to become a designer? What skills required to become a web developer? They are entirely different. First, you need to understand that web designer needs graphic designing skills and some web skills. Web developer skills need entirely different, mostly coding skills. So what he needs to learn? What he has to learn? Web designer has to learn, as already told you, graphic designing means Photoshop softwares, Photoshop, Illustrator, Photoshop, Illustrator. Then these are the graphic designing softwares. Then HTML, CSS, JavaScript. These are the fundamental skills. These are the fundamental skills for a web designer. And if you want to become a good web developer, along with these things, you need to know PHP, Java. You need to know all these things. For even web developers sometimes need to know HTML, JavaScript, CSS, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You may not need you if you are a 100% web developer. You don't need to know graphic designing skills, but you need to know HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Main thing is PHP and MySQL, and ASP.NET, ASP.NET, something like these are the core programming skills. Even high end, there are so many languages are there like Java, C Sharp, C++. These can be used, but for dynamic websites, PHP, MySQL is the fundamental thing, and ASP.NET. These days, even new technologies like HTML5, CSS3 are coming. HTML5 is a combination of different technologies. This is entirely different thing. We are going to teach what is HTML5 and all those things in later videos, and we'll go deep into HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Photoshop, Illustrator for web designer and web developer. Just you need to check regularly our website so that you can get all the videos, high-end videos, so that you can become a good web designer, a good web developer. But first and foremost thing is you need to know the difference. What is web designer? What is web developer? If you are not having good coding skills, if you are just a beginner, if you are not having any basic mathematics and coding skills, you can't be a good developer, web developer. Better to focus on good designing. If you are having coding skills, focus on web development. If you are really highly energetic and if you want, you can learn more, become both, but start from designing, then enter into development so that you can create wonderful and dynamic websites, high-end websites. These days, there is a lot of demand for web development and web designing part. So, but these are the fundamental skills you need to learn. First, understand how websites are working. Simple websites, so one page or two page websites to Facebook and all those things, how they did develop and all those things. Okay, so that is what is web designing part or web development part. What is website? In this video, we learned what is website, what is internet, what is web designing, and what is web development. What are the skills required to become a web designer and web developer? Please subscribe to the channel. If you want any kind of videos, please request in the comments. If you like the video, thumbs up the video. Thank you. Have a great day.